welcome to Dove and Dragon Radio. I'm your host, M.L.Ruscsak. I'm here with my special guest, Ellis Lucas. Welcome.
Well, hey, it's a pleasure to finally get to be on your show. I'm very honored, and thank you so much. I'm just honored to be here.
Yeah, we've had some technical difficulty getting you here today, and I'm sure this virus that's going around isn't helping anything. So I appreciate
the connection is really, really bad.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's horrible out there, so I'm glad that we're able to do this remotely to accommodate everyone and maybe educate or entertain people.
Yeah, can I call back in? The connection's so bad I can't hear you. It's just breaking up.
Enjoy.
Troubled soul near the banks of Galilee thought about me. Yeah, thought about me. He lost his step, fell in deep under Satan's control. Yeah, thought about me. And how the more things change, the more they stay the same. 'Cause everywhere I look, I see same old thing. Another young soul bound up, shackled and chained. And when I see that look in your eyes, think about me. Yeah, God's most wanted. Tell him don't give up, it's all a big lie. The Lord's left the 99 behind. You're the Lord's chosen one. God's most wanted. Yeah. Soul, become freed, unshackled and home. Thought about me. Yeah, thought about me. Alone in a pain near it, if you did where he learned he was wanted by God. So are you. Yeah, that was too. How the more things change, the more they stay the same. Everywhere I look, I see same old thing. Another young soul bound up, shackled and chained. counted.
Okay, let's try this again. Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, finally, I kept getting this recording there that said there was phone line troubles and couldn't be. And so finally, and I tried this number here too a couple times and same thing, but now we're good here. So, well, Melissa, it's an incredible privilege to finally get to meet you, and thank you for, man, you're just incredible patience here, and such an honor and a pleasure to get to be on your show today. So thank you.
Well, no, thank you for joining me. I love doing this for authors and artists and everyone. It gives us entertainment as listeners, and B, it gets our message out as authors and musicians. So,
well, yeah, well, good.
Yeah, it helps everyone.
So, yeah, and I tell you, I just happen to be, both of those things there, an author and a musician there. So,
exactly.
Anyhow.
That's why we have you on the show.
well, greetings. Well, I want to say hello to all your listeners out there, and tell you guys that tell all of you out there in Melissa's listening land there that you're listening to a worthy show here, and this is an incredible host that you get to listen to, and she's been so gracious with me here over the last few days here, and so tell all your friends about the show there, and anyhow, just know that you're listening to a good show and a good host.
Well, thank you for that very much. But let's put the focus on you where it should be, which is your books and your music. Which one did you start with first?
Well, I wrote my autobiography first, and really the first edition of it was really titled "Personal Memoirs from a Father to a Son," and really that's exactly what the potter and the clay is today. What it started out as was just a long, exhaustive letter to my son, but it became known around the world before it was all said and done, and what happened to it was it went from personal memoirs to a father to a son to being picked up by a really solid publishing house there, and they had me rewrite parts of the book there, and we retitled it there and released it back in 2014, and it just took off from there.
Very interesting. But see, that's where some of the best books come from, was when you're not trying to write the book and you're trying to write a letter or something to someone. And that's where ideas go.
Oh, my goodness. Melissa, you said a mouthful right there, because I had no thoughts that this would ever be a book. I wasn't writing it at all with that in mind. And, my wife, Peggy, though, she for years, she said, oh, you've got to share your story. And one day you're going to write a book. Well, Melissa, the funny thing about it was, I never even finished high school. I went back and later got a GED, but, I never could have imagined writing a book. But like you say, it's funny how that works out, because certain things in our lives can pop up out of the blue that trigger something inside of us that's so powerful. And I wrote that whole book. I wrote that book in less than 3 months because I just tore my Achilles tendon at work. And during that time, I started to write this letter to my son. And it was so personal. It's so emotional. And, you know, if I was actually writing a book, I'm pretty sure I couldn't have wrote one and been this transparent, you know, and really just, you know, put myself out there like that. But I'm glad I did because of the many, many, many people who've, you know, who's really, it's touched. And so I'm really thankful that, you know, Peggy always encouraged me to do that because, you know, today I can look at, you know, the broken side of my past and see how, you know, the healing of my life and how it all happened, you know, has been inspiration for so many broken lives the whole world over, you know.
Right. Well, some of our best stories, some of the best authors I've had on the show personally have had personal struggles, have wrote nonfiction biographies about their lives and been 100% transparent. Those are some of the best stories out there because they're 100% true. We don't start off writing a book. We start off writing a journal, or in your case, a letter to your son.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny because it was just this massive, long thing there. I mean, it was around 50,000 words or something, and you know, it's kind of funny because I mean, I know nothing about publishing back then, and Peggy says, "Well, let's submit that," and so I did, and I got a message back from this publishing house. What is this? You know, it's a manuscript. Where's the titles? Where's the index? You know. So anyhow, but it is yeah.
My thing with publishing companies is, and this is for future authors, when you're writing a manuscript and you're getting these no's or getting these negative feedback, don't look at it as a personal attack. Look at it as a learning experience. This is what they're wanting. This is what they're telling you that you need.
Yes. Yeah, but the second part to that is they said, this is an absolutely unbelievable, incredible story. Can you break this down into chapters and give it titles? And so, and you know, and really that was pretty easy to just go break it down. The original manuscript was pretty, you know, I didn't know anything about writing. I'd never studied literature, journalism, anything like that, you know, and stuff. And so it's just raw. But, you know, when Hillcrest Media picked it up, you know, and put it into the, and it became the Potter and the Clay, that's where they really brought the real structure into it and really gave me some guidelines on what to do to really shape it up. And then they, of course, you know, edited everything and they polished it up. And you know, surprisingly, the original text wasn't, you know, a total disaster, but you know, it
needed some.
It certainly needed
help.
Oh yeah, it needs somebody knew a little bit about that. And anyhow, but it's been an incredible journey because, you know, there's so many people, Melissa, out there right now, and they have a message inside of them. They have a story to tell, a lot of them, and they're sitting there saying, you know, oh, if I could just figure out a way to write it into a book, if I could just do a book. Well, you know, listen, you know, shuck out all the doubts out of your mind and just sit down and at your computer and pull up a Word document and just start sharing your story. Just pour your heart out onto that thing, and you know, if you got a story in your heart, listen, it's probably there, you know, by design for a purpose. And I encourage you, don't let your your fears and your doubts stand in the way, write that thing. And, if you're out there and Melissa's listening to an audience today, go to ellislucas.com and just send me a message. I'll send you some pointers and some ways to approach it. But man, I encourage you, if you're got something in you, man, sit down and write it.
Exactly. We always encourage people out there, if you have a story, write it. If you have something to say, write it down. There is no right or wrong answer on how to write. Some people have to plan for years to write a story, and others just sit at the computer with a Word document and start typing. There's no right or wrong. Just write.
Well, yeah, and the other thing, Melissa, is that I would just want to tell them is that, I'm also a speaker. I'm a musician, songwriter, recording artist. But I remember the day, man, where I was so afraid to share anything. I was terrified of the stage. I was terrified of speaking, and the shocking thing that really helped me to turn a corner was, the early times when I first began to play some music publicly, or when I first started to speak, and to hear people come up and say, "Oh my gosh, I needed to hear that," and stuff. And you may be scared, you may be timid about doing it, but listen, people want to hear that. They want to hear what you got to say, and they need the inspiration, and you'll be amazed at the confidence that comes from just hearing those simple, that was special, that really spoke to me,
Right, but there's a flip side of that. You stay away from the people that tell you you can't do it, no one wants to hear you, no one wants to read your stuff. Get away from those people. They're just pulling you down, and they're ruining your light.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you. I was just talking to my wife this morning, Peggy, about that, and she was been going through some stuff here last few days and stuff, and I was just, my wife is this incredible, beautiful family nurse practitioner. I mean, she's, literally, in my opinion, I just respect her, admire her. I just see this incredible human being, and yet, she gets her confidence rattled every now and then, and I tell her exactly what you said, Melissa, and what I hope your listeners is really, really taking to heart is that don't let anybody, dictate the path that you're on, listen to yourself, believe in yourself, because listen, people have gifts and very much in talents, and don't ever let anybody, don't let your own the voices in your head, just don't even listen to them. Just do it, just get out here and start, putting, just do your thing there, and but it's yeah, and listen, it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, and it's not. I don't think it's meant to be easy. I think that challenges are strength building, character building things inside of us, and it's definitely not easy to to overcome the negative side of life, but but that's the beauty about is having faith in your in ourselves here, and it's just one step at a time. You just put one foot in front of the other and just start applying what's in your heart, and you'll be amazed at what happens.
Exactly. I mean, okay, those of you who have been listening to me since 2017 have seen me or heard me grow so much on the show. When I first started, I was so timid about being on the radio, so nervous, and I came through when I was talking to authors, talking to graphic designers and stuff. It got to the point where it took me talking to a life coach who is now my best friend in the entire world. I mean, I go to him on mentoring for business ends and stuff like this. But it took working with him to go, you have this light inside of you. You're an awesome personality. Why are you letting the light be dimmed by some outside force? Now, at the time, he didn't know what the outside force was.
Yeah.
It's all public knowledge now. But at the time, he didn't know. I was like, you're right. Why am I doing something that I love, and I'm scared to do it because I'm listening to someone else's opinion? Their opinion doesn't matter because their opinion does not reflect my show, my character, my willingness to help other people.
Yeah, and a lot of times even I might even say with that there, Melissa, is that, you know, when you're hearing all this outside, you know, opinions about what you can do and what you can't do, it really, you're just hearing people say that they're just confessing their own limits more than anything. They're just, I mean, it's their own doubts that are saying that because, you know, and that's all the more reason to get out here and to do it is to be an inspiration to other people. But man, Melissa, I'm sitting here listening to you on the show today. I'm enjoying this so much, and I couldn't imagine for a second you being timid to do this because you're so, you know, you're just so gifted at it. And anyhow, but
yeah, I've gotten to the point. This is my show. I own it. So.
Amen.
Like,
yes. Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, and you know, I'm hearing you, and oh my gosh, you know, it's got to be inspiring for your listeners out there just to hear that story of your own, you know, early beginnings and things there. And I get back to my early beginnings. You know, I was a worship leader, man, many years ago, probably at the Calvary Chapel down in Kansas City, and you know, basically I got thrown in the fire because there really wasn't anybody, and they knew I played guitar. And I can remember getting up there, Melissa, and looked out there, and there was only probably 70 or 80 people at that time. It was a new church, and I almost threw up. I mean, I thought I was going to pass out, you know. And you know, today I'm as president of His Heart United, you know, and stuff. We have major weekend, you know, events at different places and big venues, you know, that seat thousands of people, and some of the greatest rock and roll stars in the, you know, that are in the Hall of Fame are very close friends of mine today, you know, and they play out at our events. And you know, I went from you know, almost throwing up on the stage 18 years ago, you know, to be on national, international television, and I didn't really do anything other than I just, you know, I just kept doing it. I just kept doing it. I just kept on, you know, playing and getting a little bit more confident, and I enjoyed doing it. I loved doing it, and it was really just, you know, the encouragement and the support from, you know, people around us, and really, I tell you, when people, you know, when they start, you know, mustering up the courage to start writing, to go out and speak, you know, play music, whatever it is there, you know, there will, you know, there might be people over here that are telling you, hey, you can't do that, you know, you can't do this, but there will also be people there that will encourage you and that will say, man, you know, you really got a gift there, you know, hang in there, keep doing it, you know.
Right. You have to find the ones that give you positive feedback, not the ones that fill you with hot air, but ones that actually generally see the value in what you're doing.
Yeah. Hey, I was just thinking, you know, Einstein created the light bulb, you know, and stuff there, and they used to they thought he was clinically insane. A lot of people did, and it was quite a journey before because people thought, man, you're crazy, man. You're gonna create some what? But he was asked one time, when he was speaking, somebody asked him, Mr. Einstein, what did it feel like to fail 10,000 times before you finally got it right? And he just laughed at him and he said, I've never failed in my life. I just found 10,000 different ways it didn't work,
Right. You never fail.
And eventually, and today we can flip the switch and there it is.
Yep. I mean, you never fail. There's no such things as actually failing unless you try. If you're not trying, then you can only fail.
Well, yeah, then you fail. Then you fail. You failed yourself. You failed yourself. And let me tell you, I've just got back off a major television tour, and I've been out all over the place, and I tell people, they ask me, my books and my stuff, a lot of my stuff deals with, just what I call an ever-increasing epidemic of human suffering, through abuse, abandonment, addiction, all that different stuff, rejection, emotional trauma, and that so many of us, we've all been affected some way or another by just these, complications in life today in a society. But, I tell people, that people are bound by so many things out here in this world, that we're living in today, addictions, pornography, anger. But, the most gripping, difficult thing that there ever is to break free from, which is normally the root cause of all the other stuff, is fear. It's self-doubt. And if people can just, break free from the inner fears and just the doubts and stuff, because, the longer that we let those insecurities, can influence our thoughts, the longer they're going to call the shots in our lives, and we're robbing ourselves and we're robbing the world of an invaluable asset, and that is the person, that you were gifted to be, the person this world needs you to be. And, people may see themselves as insignificant. Well, there's no such thing. We're insignificant when we make ourselves insignificant. And, like you said before, the only way we're going to fail is when we just refuse to, when we refuse to do it, and we fail ourselves in the process there.
And no one understands this better than someone that's overcome their own fears to try.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm just and I'm just really thankful I didn't throw up on the stage there that morning.
I am too.
But yeah.
2017, I was doing a book signing. Okay, my very first book signing. I was so scared. Now I was
congratulations.
Okay, doing a wig. I had a wig at the time. No, that's 2016. I'm sorry, because my head was very shaved from getting ready to have surgery again. So I was wearing wigs. So my self-confidence was really shattered at that point. So last year, then right after that, I started doing very small, a local craft show, and I started having fun with it. I had more fun when I was just by myself with my daughter than I did with my significant other at the time, because I was getting that negative feedback. So last year, I had the opportunity to join, I think, 25 other authors at this huge event in downtown Columbus at what we call German Village. And I owned the show. It was, I'm going to go up here and read do a reading for my book. I'm going to go up here and talk to the authors. I'm going to go up there and talk to the people just walking around. 2 years ago, I would not have been able to do that because I doubted myself so much. But I got to the point last year, I have to own this. There's no one in this area that knows my story better than me.
And Melissa, you are sitting here, unbelievable story. I mean, you're inspiring me here right now. Man, you know, I just had a thought there that you just had all this surgery. I don't know what type it was, but you know, just overcoming that alone, you know, is one thing. But you know, I've always said, you know, that suffering has been my greatest teacher in this life, and it was undoubtedly, you know, the source that led to the transformation that empowered me to go out here and do what I'm doing today, you know, and stuff. And that it was the hardships, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hope, you know, it's been said, you know, Charles Haddon Spurgeon said that hope, it's like a star out there, you know. It's not seen, you know, in the sunshine, the prosperity, and the comforts of good times. But, you know, the best kind of hope is discovered in a pitch black night of suffering and hardships and adversity, you know, and stuff there.
Exactly. See, I credit my illnesses from 2011 because that's when I got sick and started going really downhill with my health to being where I'm at today. Without that struggle of going through brain surgery, without having the strokes that I had, without needing to literally pick myself up from nothing, because I would not be able to be here to write the books, to inspire people, to go out and be a motivational speaker. So I really, really, really accredit everything I do to all my illnesses. Without being able to overcome that darkness, I wouldn't be here.
You know, I said that. I said that in my new book, Wanted. That, you know, that those greatest obstacles in our lives, those greatest something, it may be a failure, it may be just what you're talking about, but those greatest moments, those pivotal moments in our lives that we think that for most people, it probably would set them on the shelves. Those great pivotal moments that we see as hardships and different things, those can also effectuate the undisclosed catalyst that empowers some of life's most unlikely, you know, unsuspecting, unqualified, you know, people to go out there and accomplish some of life's most extraordinary things that doesn't, you know, that brings purpose and meaning and passion to their lives that otherwise wouldn't be there, that came out of those, you know, those moments in their lives. And man, Melissa, I just got to say how much that I admire you and your courage to, I mean, no wonder you're out here right now doing such a great work, because, you know, you have, you've overcome much, and you have moved a mountain of suffering, you know, to come out here and be a voice and to say that, hey, you know, nothing is impossible here.
Right. I went from, 2011, this is how far I've come, not able to walk, talk, communicate outside of pecking on a computer screen. That's all I could do. I now have 8 books out, and I have this awesome show where I can network with other authors such as yourself.
Well, that's a pretty powerful packing. That's what I would say. But, you know, Melissa, congratulations for, you know, for all your books and everything that you're doing. But even more, you know, congratulations for, you know, for really just having the courage to understand that, for just refusing to be refusing to accept defeat, and just, I mean, that I just think your show here, you know, is going to be It's so needed for one thing, but I mean, I just can tell you that I can't even fathom the kind of influence, the span of what your story, what your heart is going to do for people out there all around the world. I really believe in what you're doing here, and
look at your own books. I mean, they're inspiring people. You've been on national TV inspiring people. This is what we do. We have to use our stories, our voice, to inspire people to lift themselves up.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. My story and my wife's story, both of them were based on my first book. They were featured on Unshackled. It's a drama radio series. It's the oldest running drama series in the whole world, and it was so they acted out our life stories in a 3-part, 30-minute drama series, and it was played all over the world in 14 different languages. And I mean, on Moody Radio, when you have millions and millions and millions of listeners, and my story is different than yours, though. I mean, you've quickly become one of my heroes here by, my suffering was self-inflicted. I was full of anger. I was full of, all kinds of just crap when I was young, when I was and I got tangled up in drugs. I got, and it just was, it just went downhill from about 11 years old on, and it wasn't until 35 when everything changed, and it changed on a dime. But, there are a lot of people that struggle with addictions, with drugs, with anger, with different things there. But then there's people out there like you too, Melissa, that, they're not out there tangled up in all this other stuff. They're just absolutely have, an unforeseen obstacle that, you have a choice there. Am I going to, who's going to win here? Is it going to be the brain surgery, or am I going to win? And obviously you made up your mind early on that I'm a champion, and I'm the champion. I'm the champion of the world, and I'm not going to be beat.
Yeah.
And I commend you so much for your courage.
Well, here's the thing. I grew up with being around the anger, being around the drugs, being around all the negative stuff that you went through that was self-inflicted. I made the choice early on that I don't want to waste my life that way. There was a daily struggle because the temptation is there for all of us.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, and studies, though, Melissa, studies have shown that, when people do experience these unnatural or sudden degrees of trauma or loss, just, that really just catch us off guard and just slam us, mentally, emotionally to the ground. I mean, the natural reaction is to just internalize an abnormal degree of just anxiety and fear, and especially when it comes to, the worst kind of trauma, and that's a personal betrayal, and stuff. And, people have a tendency to blame themselves. They think if I would have been prettier, if I would have been, more, if I would have been better, and, they suffer significantly in bondage to self-destructive, emotions, and, they begin to wrestle with all kinds of different things, is life even worth living? And, yes, those moments right there are opportunities. I mean, it's hard if you're in a real bad place right now. I mean, that may be hard for you to comprehend that, but you can. It's how you look at it. It's perspective, and like Melissa, like you said, it was a choice there, but that can be an opportunity.
Right. We have to evaluate ourselves. We have to get our nose out of what other people are doing. And I say this a lot. We see this. Social media is great for networking. It's great for connecting with other people. But at the same time, we have to focus on ourselves, and we have to do what's in our best interest. choice. We can't inflict what we want onto other people before we fix ourselves first.
Oh my gosh. You know, I got a song I wrote. It's titled Rob's Song. I wrote it for my brother, but the second verse of it just says, you know, don't underestimate the power of the human will. You know, when something deep inside of us says, I know I'm going to win, and you know, it's just a faith that transcends, you know, far beyond this natural realm, you know, and stuff. And there's just a part of us that says, you know, it's out there, and I'm not going to quit until I have discovered what I have, what is here for me today. And John Sledd is such a close friend of mine. John Sledd is in the Hall of Fame. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he was in a band called Head East back in the day. It was a, you know, classic rock band, and you know, they had a song out, you know, never been any reason to save my life. I'm going down for the last time. This is probably before you were born, Melissa, but anyhow, yeah, big time band. But he's got a song out in his new band. I mean, it's just an insane band, and it's got a song called Lone Soldier, and it's talking about that wounded person out there, and it says, don't toss away, don't throw the hope of that lone soldier out there, 'cause it ain't over till you find what is there for you. You know, don't throw it in. Don't listen to the voices, you know, that says it's over. You know, 'cause we've all got a gift. We've all got an incredibly special look. We have a purpose here, and you know, I just was talking to my wife, just like you were saying, it's so many voices, even our own doubts that, you know, they're sitting there fighting against us. But, you know, courage is a special thing, and faith is a special thing, and just you know, the people that have left the greatest impact on this world were the most unsuspecting people you might ever think that would come out here, you know, and be what they are today. But you know, that trauma has a way of, you know, if you're looking at it through the right lens, like Melissa did, trauma can be, you know, the rocket fuel that launches you, that awakens something inside of you, a fight. It says, I'm not having it, man. I mean, you know, this ain't good enough. You know, this isn't,
exactly.
You know, yeah, and
well, that is about as much time as we have today, and I would love to continue this conversation for hours, because obviously we could. yeah. Oh, Melissa, thank you. Oh my gosh, I want to tell your audience out there what an incredible honor it was to get to be on Melissa's show here today, and you know, she's very patient. It's taken a few extra days. It wasn't on schedule, but it's just been my incredible joy here today to be on here to have this discussion. And listen, you know, be all you can be out there. Be encouraged. You know, be encouraged. You know, don't ever be scared. Don't be dismayed. You know, and thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for you know, for tuning in and hearing us today. It's been an honor. And again, we can find you at ellislucas.com. There's a lot of your books are there, your music is there. There's a lot of things we didn't have time to touch base on today.
Right.
Yeah, you can find it all right there. And again, thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, Melissa, you're more than welcome. It's my pleasure, and thank you. And God bless you guys. And we'll talk again. Okay.
Yep, we'll do that. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
You're more than welcome. Bye-bye.